Okay, welcome to the Love and Relationships Hour, the show that we give you long distance love advice and all that good jazz from somebody who doesn't know a damn thing about a relationship because it's relationships for me. Now, you're talking to somebody with an autistic condition who just doesn't know anything about relationships other than telling you all about it in experiences. So that's what the Ellen hour is. It's just that very important discussion. I could tell you hypothetical things or things that I know from. It's like an autistic individual or someone with Aspie or something like that, where they know everything about digital photography, but they never don't take digital photos. It's like you have like this encyclopedic knowledge on the subject, but you don't have firsthand knowledge. For me, I just got the short and the stick and everything in my life. So all right, so I was. Let me just explain a little bit about me today. I am building a new facade for my Behringer mixer. If you follow me on Instagram at Stephen.Clickford, I have showed you some of it to give each stone a run for their money. It's still a work in progress. It's version 0, so it's not gonna look totally perfect. And then I'll show you folks tomorrow, but I'm building a genius bar. I call it the Tier 1 Pub. I think that has a nice catchy name to it. And that will be the stand when I do various subjects and things of that nature. Maybe that's where Color Classy will sit for the time being. I'm still working on trying to get the hard drive out. So, um, that's a work in progress. I bought the studs today at Home Depot. I would have bought it yesterday if only I had my wallet. And I was looking for it for the entire morning on Monday. Or what was Monday? When did I go out? Did I go out? Yeah, I went out yesterday. Midday. 'Cause I'm hair done. That's why. So I'm looking for it, and it's like no money, no service. Well, now it's like no credit, no service. Because if you don't have cash, you have like a card, right? Well, if you have your phone, you might have some service in terms of exchanging money for things. But unfortunately, the Home Depot takes PayPal, but they don't take it at the checkout line. They used to under their old system. I now am as I'm remembering it, the little touch panel. They did, but every POS has been going through a refresh, which, like during the pandemic, it's like the worst thing you need to do is refresh your POS machine. That's like, we talk about this alleged chip shortage. So, because I think you were able to plug in your PayPal on the keypad, but I don't have it activated on my phone because I don't really trust companies exploiting me. And this group of individuals, as a group, exploiting you. As somebody this morning said, I get your logic. And that's the problem. I really don't give. For me, I I'm very careful where I get my personal information to in organizations in the organizational level, and PayPal is a little bit iffy, so I don't give them my phone number or get a pin from them. Um, I think I had to give them my social security. I don't know. I didn't give them. No, I didn't give them the social security. But you have to be really careful, and it's really you can't. You're putting all these trusts in. Was it 5 companies? So, anyways, as embarrassing as it was, I went to another Home Depot and got my stuff, and it's good enough because it'll be. I mean, I can. It's like the wood. I mean, it's hard to find good wood without it, without it being banged up. So I just had to get the best ones. I'll work with what I have, and I think I'll be fine with it because it'll work fine in the backdrop. Um, so that was yesterday and today. Like I said, I'm working on my new facade for my mixer to make it look more Wheatstone like or probably more old school because Wheatstone doesn't make wood grain consoles. But I'll just what happened today was I just happened to do this project right after Henry, and I just naively thought didn't think it was that hot outside for 10:30 in the morning. It was hard to get the glue in place, so I mean it's curing right now, but it's completely off shape. So I'm gonna have to work on that. So that's gonna be some work. I may have to just deassemble it and redo it again. I think it's just probably the best thing for me to do. So that's my latest project here in the studio. Right where my phaser is, I got my IKEA what's that called? Organizer, drawer, chest. Um, so it was one of the few things I got there, and I realized I'm kicking myself. I should have gotten more stuff there, but it's better. It's better to just underbuy stuff, in my opinion, and then just scale up. But now I get a feel of what they have, so it's important to go out there and check it out. It wasn't that far from where I live, and where I live is I live not that far away from Boston, and Boston is the biggest city in New England population wise, and it's really just like five Manchesters, New Hampshires put together, so it's not really that far to get there, and it's in Stoughton, Massachusetts, the local IKEA. The next one nearby is New Haven. Connecticut doesn't do tax holidays, and do you really want to like go to New Haven? Um, you know, but um, yeah, it was interesting how like in 1 week things kind of turned for. I mean, we got Henry. Well, not where I live, but in New England we did. And was it hyped up? I'm not sure. Because the way the storm turned, and way the storm turned, it just I I don't know. I don't want to. I don't like to be critical of the media. I think because right now, if you watch the channel with the searchlights, it's like it's like DEFCON 3, and it's very depressing to watch um the news when it's blatantly this side is bad and this side is well he could do better, and it's like they just want a Democrat to fail, and they just don't. I don't like that. I don't like that. Also, it's about 20 years that the Fox News channel changed their bug. Um, they used to have a flat bug, the logo or graphic on the lower third on a corner, like CNBC used to have the Dow Nasdaq and S&P stacked up on the lower third or the lower half, because depending on how the stack was set up. And so I guess what happened was the creative services at the Fox News channel had gotten information that people's TVs were having burn-in effects. So it was like right before 9/11 that they did the cube effect to kind of like not have the screen get burned. But of course, their live bug on the top, didn't animate until I think it's after 9/11 because they put the American flag on there. And then yeah, it was just really interesting. And to be honest with you, with any of the cable channels that you watch, and even CNBC, the CRTs would probably burn in. That's probably why CNBC changed their graphics packages and the ticker colors here and there, because it probably, um, yeah, your TV can burn in. And really, it wasn't until the late 80s, early 90s when stations started putting graphical elements like desktop publishing, Photoshop, Paintbox, like stuff on the lower thirds. So the theory of a TV never burning in never happened until the 90s when computers started getting into the news gathering production where you had bugs on the lower third. I think think it was in like 1991 when the network started putting bugs, and then the cable channels did. It was almost like a watermark, particularly when it came to like I know like music videos. I think they really wanted the bug because they to prevent like the piracy and all that for the time. But the Fox News channel was it's kind of the same thing today, just um, they show the time right now in the current one, but it just says Fox News for the most time, for the most part. But I wonder if your flat panel can burn in. I've always wondered that because like with my Mac, if I'm like logged in most of the time, and my like I have a company backdrop with all the phone numbers to our operations, and when I log out, I see my desktop on the login screen. Now, I'm not sure if that's getting generated by OS 10 or it's my display. I think it's on the display. But you have to be careful with that because if that image stays around there for a bit, if I flip into Fox News to CNBC, if I see Fox News bleed over on the corporate news and betting channel, you know, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see if the creative services people check back in a few years. Um, All right, one other thing that, because I mentioned CNBC, because, the world's on fire. Like, I don't need to know that the world's on fire. Okay, Trump wanted us out of Afghanistan. Biden puts a date on there, and it's like, okay, well, it's going to be painful when you go out, right? I mean, a rational person's looking in, like, well, yeah. But anyways, CNBC on the exchange, I almost mistaken it with street signs, but Kelly Evans, she's back in Englewood Cliffs and in their news where I'm set. I haven't watched CNBC in quite a while. The Nasdaq's at 15,000, Dow's at 35,000. I'm like, okay, it's thrifty. I don't need to keep watching it tick by tick. So I would just get nervous. But apparently, this marks the 10th year anniversary of Steve Jobs announcing that he would step down for the company for the one last time, bringing the Tim Cook to be his successor. And unfortunately, Steve Jobs passed away to less than just over a month and a half after that. For us East Coast people, we were dealing with the earthquake, the 5.8 that hit Virginia, I believe, and then Hurricane Irene was already a concern. And while it clipped the big cities, it did hit upstate New York. So a lot of people here on the East, it was because remember Steve Jobs stepped down on earlier that year on Martin Luther King Day, his birthday, his observed birthday, thinking that the business press wouldn't cover it, but the Fox Business Network wouldn't have credibility. Actually, normally it's on the air on bank holidays. To this day, they're on bank holidays, and except for like Christmas and New Year's, they're on tape. But they skied out on that story, and if I was the FBI news director, yeah, I would run with it too. They were the only cable channel that ran with it, and CNBC had to. I think CNBC put a crawl at like 5 o'clock that afternoon, and they had somebody had to go to the Silicon Valley bureau to report on it by 6 p.m. Eastern, and he dumped it like that midnight his time, I think, because he's like, oh, no one's gonna know that I'm taking a medical leave of absence, but yeah, I remember that was in 2011. So then he came back a little bit and then went out again, and that was his last leave. So of course, the cheerleaders on CNBC were all, G Munster was on, and here's the graphic that they put on the big screen in their EC studio. I have to read this here. Stock price went over 1,000%. Revenues up 154% to 274 billion. The market cap, holy, What is that? 2.5 trillion? Holy macaroni! It went up 346 billion. And then the net cash position is 72 billion. So that's their checking account, and they paid almost 103 billion dollars. I mean, it's unbelievable. I but one of the things that I'm not hearing a lot about was I remember the quarter closing in October of 2011. This one really got my attention because this was the quarter when Steve Jobs was still alive. Because I'm assuming the quarter ended in September because they reported it in October. Um, and it must have been fiscal 4Q. They reported a record-breaking revenue for the time of $28.27 billion, with 11.2 million iPads, 17.07 million iPhones, 4.89, sorry, fudge this up, billion Macs sold. That was in the fiscal fourth quarter. The the 17 million iPhones, the almost 5 million Macs, and about 11 million iPads. The company posted quarterly net profit of 6.62 billion, or 7.05 per diluted share. The iPhone represented 21% of the unit growth year over year. iPod sales are down 27% from the year ago quarter, but Apple reported the best iPad quarter to date with over 11 million units. I didn't own an iPad till the following year, and I would get the iPhone at the calendar 2011, calendar fourth quarter 2011. So I wasn't, my expenditures was not in the numbers. Um, But that was a different time because the iPhone was still very new in the marketplace, as well as the iPad wasn't even a year old. So obviously those numbers, and the Mac. I mean, we were still in the financial crisis fallout. So this is one thing that I will stick up for Apple is that when other industries were down, this really has to be after the year 2000 because Apple kind of was it was a different company, put it that way. That's how I'm gonna call it. But really, Apple has been doing really well when other companies go down, when the Wintel sector is posting really lousy profit margins, and by Apple going to the M1, I just don't think it's going to be the same. And I really think the Mac was a perfect hedge, especially as everything would mature on the mobile end. I don't think Apple turning a desktop into a mobile device in a desktop form factor is the smartest thing. And on the exchange today, the pundits, what I call the Midtown pundits, were saying Apple should get into cars, get into all these high. I just think Apple. It's so funny how much money they make, and they don't make any money on software. I still think Apple should charge for iOS, for the major versions of iOS as well as macOS, just to show that you're a hardware and software company. That's just my opinion. Um, but the way Apple is, as Alfred de Blasi would say on his YouTube, if you're a shareholder, it's great, but if you're a user or a customer, it's a whole different story. But I would question those numbers that you see on that because this is the report card that was the graphics CMC put on the big video wall. So the data goes back to August 24th of 2011. Speaking about August 24th, isn't it the 26th anniversary of Windows 95? Right. You probably don't hear it on the live stream, but if you probably heard it on the podcast, I'll put the Windows 95 start sound. But yeah, this would mark the 26th anniversary of the the slutty version of Windows 3.1, or excuse me, the Windows 3.1 and sluttier packaging. That's what Windows 95 really was. It was as revolutionary in retrospect. Until Windows NT 4.0, of course, because Windows NT was the operating system. When Windows before XP for everybody, it was two different colors. I'm not going to talk on this show because I'm going to bore you to death. It's 10:22 Eastern Time, and with that being said, let me play some other news of the week. While I was gone, I wasn't able to do a weekly zoo um, because I just missed the deadline for the production, which is normally 7 o'clock, where I start producing everything before you hear the show. But actually, before we go to Trump and his shit show, which was very literal in his context, one thing, if you are a fan of fans, maybe you'll like OnlyFans. Stephen Colbert, take it away.
There's big news from the internet today because we learned that starting in October, the site OnlyFans will ban sexually explicit content. They know that fans of OnlyFans are only fans of one thing, right? But don't worry. Starting October 1st, OnlyFans will still live up to its name by offering hot oscillating action. So, why did OnlyFans drop the booby pics? Well, reportedly, OnlyFans was struggling to find outside investors because of its adult content. Evidently, pornography does not live up to the high moral standards of investment bankers. Unless it's them, economy. Then it's fine. Now,
That's for sure, those corporate whores.
that's the blues, them. Giving us the blues. Now, there is a bright side to banning shots of Where the Sun Don't Shine because OnlyFans says while sexually explicit material will be banned, nudity that is not sexually explicit will remain allowed. So you can only post nude images that would never turn on anyone. And I'm sorry, I just don't need the money that badly. But I do have good news for the OnlyFans fans out there. There's another place to find sexually explicit material on the internet. It's called the internet.
Or as I call the World Wide Web. For the more technically inclined language here. What's really drives me nuts with Instagram is like I have my Instagram for, my public consumption, and it's like I get like almost every time I post a story, I get these like porno accounts that says, "Watch my pussy." I don't want to watch your pussy, and it gets really irritating because I like to know who's. I get like sometimes two accounts, and it just gets it gets irritating. All right, so one more thing on the Weekly Zoo where we make fun of weird people. Well, not like typical normie weirdo people, not really weird people. But who knows, because I'm not a psychologist, nor do I play one on the interwebs. Donnie Boy Trump just does it again. He just can't learn from talking out of his ass and just the way he talks. He talks like a farmer, a low-rent electrician, the most incompetent plumber in your life. It's like, you know what thing I'll give you advice? If you weren't in a school with girls, teenage girls, when you're in high school, you're doomed for life because he's an alum of the New York Military Academy where there were no girls. Barrack talk, That's what they said on that Frontline documentary in the 2016 election. That's what his classmates say. That he talks like he's still at the barracks. Military talk.
I met a general. His name was General Kane. I don't even know. Maybe he's not even on my side. Who the hell knows with these generals?
Who the hell knows?
When I get through with this guy Millie, I mean, how about Millie? Remember?
How about Millie?
Remember when I walked to the church, proudly walked to the church, that the protesters, they tried to burn it down, but I walked to the church, protesters out there, and Millie was walking with me. And the next day, the radical left media starts calling, you shouldn't have walked, you shouldn't have walked. Instead of saying, I'm proud to walk with my president, not because it's me, because of the office. Instead of saying that, he wanted to apologize for walking with the president of the United States. And I said, this guy doesn't have what it takes. And you're seeing that now, because the worst decisions I've ever seen. That's, again, why I put the patent. I just remembered it as I was coming over here. I said, get that clip quickly. The people of Alabama understand that clip. Do you think that... Let me ask you, do you think that General Patton was woke? I don't think so. What do you think, Mike? Mike, was he woke? I don't think so. I don't think he was too woke. He was the exact opposite. You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit, okay? It's true. It's true. Look at what's happening.
This is America, kids. So you heard me giggle because I actually, when I was recording it, my mic was open. Don't tell anybody that. But really, this is America. When he says everything woke turns out shit. It's really sad. And everyone goes to USA. It's like as if it's a post-war situation. It's really shallow. And President Trump is just a useful idiot, I would say, and I think it's the Millie reference, okay, because that's been coming out with Carol Lenning and Phil Rucker from the Washington Post. Say what you want about that, news organization, but they were saying with Millie, apparently in 2020, May of 2020, right? Or June, or whichever the everything happened. And Millie was being consulted to have the president use the military and use the Insurrection Act. So if you do that Google search without fear that the the 3-letter agencies are stuck in your internet, it's really alarming. And like, I didn't know what to call January 6th, but it was just ironic that Trump was trying to use, because Millie, the reason why he's enemies with Millie is because he was trying to politicize the military to use it for Trump's own gain, and that's not what the military is supposed to be used for. It's supposed to be used for policy, not one's personal views of the world or the country, for that matter. And Patton was very, as had, when you look at his history with World War II, General Patton was rough on the edges, but also the world was different at that time. And it wasn't just political correctness or sensitivity. Just, it was okay to tell somebody in their face, "Man up," and say things like that without being sensitive. Although I'm not saying that the military is also. I think all the stuff that you're hearing in the military is all just again propaganda and fear mongering from certain media outlets that don't understand institutions and they're literally acting like you can be like an outsider and understand how the inside works and still be an outsider. But these people are statically outsiders. Like, I don't want to know the inside. I want to go with what I know, laser focus. But the laser focus is a low bit brain. So, um, that's the problem. Like, if you're watching, you know, Fox or even Newsmax or OAN, all three of them, FNC's a little more liberal and more in the middle. No, say political quotation marks. There's some anchors that will read some copy, but you know it's bullshit. You know they are because they're in the toilet. And Roger Ailes did say before he left and passed away that if you're not careful, he's gonna end up running the place, and then, which they did. I know that Fox really wants to focus towards the Iowa and New Hampshire audience, but um, I'm just, I hear it when I'm, eating my meals, and I just like, oh my God, it's like there's more to the world than just Washington and Afghanistan and all this. I mean, again, it's all how you people govern. I love to hear. I have nothing against conservative or liberal media, to be honest with you. I just want somebody to just tell me a way that's not right or wrong. This black and white or blue and red thinking is it's the reason why I'm not in the IT business, why I'm not a self advocate, and because I just don't like it. You know, if somebody's radical, that I'll call them out for being radical, but I'm not gonna go and start like singling out a media entity just because they have a different political persuasion. All right, so now with all that stuff cleared out, you can probably get a call if you want to talk about anything. This could be a mixed show if you want. The click phone scam tonight at 10:50. We'll close that out. Let's start off with the Eleanor Hour with John. John, you're on the Weekly Zoo. What say you? The Eleanor Hour.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
For you, is, which teacher did you have the hots for? And if she didn't change it, you stayed the same, looks, SMB and all that, which teacher would you have a fantasy? So I'll take your question off the air.
Okay, so the question was asked, um, if if it had a crush on the teacher that they didn't change and they looked the same and had the same attraction as an adult, I'm assuming sexual too. There's a couple ladies, they were in the middle school program, hot as hell, good bodies, more fit than me. Um, they're both 10 years older than me, so they're both like 44. One lives, I think, in New Hampshire, and the other one, I'm not sure. But they were both, it was literally that same year. Both were tall and athletic. The other one had a nice slender figure, and she got married in Las Vegas, I think. But I don't know. I tried looking for her, but I know the other girl that I had the hot for. She's married and has a baby, and yeah, she was a smoke. I mean, she was 24 at the time. I was 14. She was 24. So if you know, 5 years, I could have, both I had lusty thoughts for. They were both kind of they were both something I could at least I could. But again, if they didn't change and they're the same girl, yeah, I'd bang them too, for sure. Whichever one that wasn't single. Thank you for the call, John. Jeff, you have something on racerbacks. Oh my God, we're talking about bras again. Jeff, what's like you?
Hi.
Hi.
So you talked a while back on the lingerie part that you think that razorbacks are for sluts.
No, I did not say that. You're
Oh,
inaccurate. I
sorry,
said
strippers.
strippers.
I see I'm correct.
Yes, just strippers.
So, why do you find that razorback bras are for strippers?
Free show. Easy to get off, easy to come on, easy to. It's really easy. And again, it's like it should be. It's. I understand the bra's purpose theoretically because the way the back goes down. Okay, I guess Jeff is disconnected. I understand it kind of goes around the blade of your. So in a way, it's more. But again, there's something fun with the back clasp. That's just my opinion. But again, I don't know anything. Oh God, Lindsay's on the phone. Liz, I'm cringing. Just get out my hair quickly, Lindsay. Lindsay.
Steven?
Oh God, what's?
How are you?
You just talk like a valley girl.
You're so weird.
I'm so weird. Okay, you're like Joey's other half. Are you?
You're so weird.
Yeah, you just asked that question. What's your question, Lindsay?
I wasn't my guy, and that you told me in girl if you're like someone who's a badass, who's gonna be a badass. Well, I think you are crazy.
Yeah, I'm crazy. No, I'm giving you the honest answer.
I want to sleep with him.
You did?
And I don't know how to seduce him.
So you don't know how to seduce him. You sound like a sexy
What
girl.
should I do?
So, I don't know. I think you know the answer to that question, Lindsay.
Okay. I like razorbacks, you know? 'Cause I'm a girl and you're not. What do you know? Bye-bye.
Oh, God. Lindsay, I think Lindsay and Joey are related. Stephanie. Or Steph. You're on the Weekly Zoo. What say you, Steph? You're telling the screener's telling me that I'm wrong. What do you mean by that, Steph? I gotta challenge you.
Hi. You know, I haven't called in your show in a while, but, you know, you never seem to get your facts straight with anything in relationships. And I wish you a lot of luck in the future. But I have a question. Why do you just love in relationships ever now? There's really no need for you, you think? I just was wondering why you keep doing it, you know?
Alright, well, Steph, it's because
Well,
there's a need for
I think
it.
you're giving a lot of misinformation, and you're just really obnoxious. You think you're all that, and you're not. That's why you have a few thousand views on your YouTube, you know?
Wow, Steph, you've turned your ugly back on me. Oh my God, Steph. You know what Steph stands for, Stephanie? The female variant for a prince. She seems to be a princess. I can mimic what Steph would be doing on her phone. Don't look at me. Don't look at my phone. I just posted a selfie on Instagram. I'm just gonna show my nostrils. Lindsay might be doing that too, but who knows? All right. Tommy is next. He's got a question on how to get a girl so he can touch her. Oh God. Oh, Tommy, what say you? You sound like a new caller.
I have a question regarding this little girl that I like in the work. she works in another department. Just a smoke. She's a smoke show, and I want I want to just touch her. Like, what should I do?
I would ask for tea. I would not ask during work times. That might raise flags. I wouldn't say it so nonchalantly. I would say it more like, or maybe nonchalant, but find a place where you could date and touch. Dancing. Are you a guy that would like to go to a
Okay.
dance? Okay. So I would recommend maybe something in an activity where you be touched. But with COVID-19, do you really want to be doing that? Okay, Tommy. My producer needs Amanda. I don't know what's going on with your phone. Maybe the phone is acting up. I don't know why it's acting up. All right. Because I've been hearing the phoners coming in and it sounds like it's stuck. I mean, you got SIP phones. That's the other thing too. Like whenever I'm making a call on my SIP phones, all the lights on my switches are fluttering, including my H323 VoIP phones. It's kind of SIP is one hell of a complicated protocol. If you have H323 VoIP phones, keep it. That's TACB on weekends on BCOP 990. Tony is next. She wants to look hot during the summertime. Tony, what say you?
Hi.
Hi.
I can't help but to look sexy. And I just, I'm getting called in my workplace for being too hot, but I can't help myself during the summertime. What am I supposed to do? I gotta, look hot for this season. What should I do?
Are you on some estrogen
Yeah.
medication?
Yeah, I swap out of these things. I can't stay cool without not having too much clothes on it, dude. Yeah.
Okay, Tony. Again, I've been getting some phone issues tonight. Yikes. Um, Tony. I guess Tony has to wear at least amount of clothes to stay cool. Is that normal for girls to? Because I know a lot of girls are not like me. Because I wear summer clothes in the wintertime. Because she's got a furnace. You must be on the pill or something like that. I don't get that. Um, Josh, you have a question on navel piercings. Um, we'll get to you um next after this commercial message. Hey, folks. I don't have my car on me, but I would play the chimes of death if I would, because it's that time of year. It's Halloween. So visit techycrafts.clickford.net, where I have two sad pumpkin decor that is in the theme of Susan Care. Get that on techycrafts.clickford.net. If it's, I'm not sure if it's in the Etsy catalog yet. I gotta go and update that, but I recommend you go and check that out. Also, if you use the Weekly Zoo as the promo code to check out, you can get a special deal. So it's gonna be that time of year where everything goes to hell. So visit techycrafts.clickford.net and use the Weekly Zoo on the Etsy checkout. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back and then we'll take Josh and Joey. Actually, Michael. Okay, we got a couple calls. So we might go until 11 o'clock, but I need to take a quick break. So be back in a moment. This is the Weekly Zoo.